There are places in this world where silence feels heavier, where history hasn't died, it just waits. There are the places people whisper about, places where the air is colder and time refuses to move. Tonight, we travel through the shadows to uncover the top 10 most haunted places on Earth. Let's begin. Our first stop, the quiet countryside of Harrisville, Rhode Island. A farmhouse built in 1736, and a place that inspired The Conjuring. When the Perron family moved in during the 1970s, they thought they'd found their forever home. But what they found instead was something waiting for them. Clocks stopped every night at 3:07 a.m. Doors slammed shut on their own. The daughters spoke of a woman with a broken neck, watching them sleep. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren claimed the house was infested with spirits, led by a witch named Bathsheba Sherman, a woman who lived on the property in the 1800s and was rumored to have practiced witchcraft and sacrificed her child to the devil. Locals claimed she hanged herself from a tree near the farmhouse, and her name became synonymous with the haunting. The Perrons fled. The house remains. And sometimes, when the wind cuts through the walls just right, it whispers her name. Just outside Cluj-Napoca, in the heart of Transylvania, lies a forest that defies nature itself. Trees twist into spirals, animals avoid the center, and even electronics die within its borders. It's called the Hoya Baciu Forest, and locals refuse to enter after dark. The legend began when a shepherd disappeared here, along with his 200 sheep. They never returned. The forest center is a perfect circle where nothing grows. Science can't explain it. Locals believe it to be a portal, and those who have stepped into the clearing say they feel watched. In 1968, a military technician captured a UFO hovering above the canopy. Since then, visitors report nausea, rashes, and time loss. One girl vanished for 5 minutes, and when she returned, she spoke a different language. The forest doesn't just haunt, it distorts. And if you walk in alone, you may not walk out the same. In New South Wales, a Victorian mansion looms over the town of Junee. Built by Christopher Crawley, it became a monument to wealth and tragedy. Crawley died from blood poisoning. His wife locked herself in the attic for 23 years, leaving only twice. A child was burned alive, a stable boy chained for decades. Visitors report cold spots, ghostly figures, and whispers from empty rooms. Australia's most haunted house doesn't just echo, it mourns. And it never forgets. But while this mansion holds its ghosts in rooms and hallways, our next location is haunted by something much, much older. The ruins of Bhangarh Fort rise from the edge of the desert. Beautiful, ancient, and utterly still. once a thriving city, now silent stone. Legend says it fell because of love. A sorcerer named Shingya fell for the beautiful princess Ratnavati. When she rejected him, he tried to enchant her perfume to make her fall for him. But she saw through his spell and turned it back on him. As a boulder crushed him, he cursed the entire city. Bhangarh shall crumble, and no soul will live within its walls. Soon after, an invading army destroyed it. Today, the Indian government forbids anyone from entering after sunset. Locals say the curse still stands, and those who ignore it never return. From the sands of India to the quiet suburbs of Missouri, where something darker than legend once woke inside a child. It began in 1949. A quiet boy, strange noises and scratches that appeared on his body out of nowhere. What followed would inspire one of the most feared horror movies in existence, The Exorcist. Priests claim they watched furniture move on its own. Words carved themselves into the boy's skin, and voices spoke through him in languages he'd never known. The church performed over 30 exorcisms. In the end, the boy survived, but those who witnessed it said something in that house never left. The address was changed, the home renovated, but neighbors still swear that some nights, if you stand outside too long, something just isn't quite right. The windows hum, and the walls seem to breathe. At the foot of Mount Fuji, silence reigns. Aokigahara is known as the suicide forest, but its darkness runs deeper than despair. The soil is volcanic, rich in iron. It disrupts compasses. Trails vanish. Sound is swallowed, and among the trees, yurei, restless spirits of the people that took their lives in the woods, are said to linger. Hikers find abandoned tents, suicide notes, even nooses. Some mark their path with tape, hoping to find their way back. Others never do. Monks have built altars to calm the dead, but the forest doesn't forget. It watches, and if you hear a whisper in the wind, it might not be yours. Up next is America's most infamous home of horror. 112 Ocean Avenue. The night of November 13th, 1974. 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his entire family. All 6 of them. His 2 parents and 4 siblings, murdered in cold blood. A year later, the Lutz family moved in. They lasted 28 days. They spoke of doors slamming on their own, swarms of flies in winter, cold spots in the house, and walls and keyholes dripping with slime. George Lutz claimed he woke at 3:15 a.m. every night, the same time the murders took place. And when a priest came to bless the house, he allegedly heard a voice scream, "Get out!" The story became a global phenomenon. Skeptics call it a hoax. Believers call it a warning. Either way, the house still stands. And those who've lived there say, especially when the lights are off, no one there is truly alone. In the Venetian lagoon floats a small island, forbidden to the public. This is Poveglia, the island of the dead. During the Black Plague, thousands were dumped here to die. The screams could be heard from the mainland. Later, it became an asylum. Patients whispered that a doctor performed cruel experiments, drilling holes into skulls to release the evil within. When guilt consumed him and the voices of the victim's ghost drove him mad, he threw himself from the bell tower. The Italian government sealed the island. Even fishermen refused to sail near it. They say the soil itself is half human ash, and at night the bells still ring with nobody there to ring them. Beneath the glamour of Paris lies a world the city doesn't speak of. A labyrinth of bones, 6 million souls stacked in silence. The catacombs were born out of necessity, but they've become something else entirely. A place where the dead don't rest, but echo. Visitors report sudden chills, disorientation, and the feeling of being watched. Some say they hear the whispers from the walls. Others never make it back. A camcorder was found, abandoned in the dark. The footage showed a man running, lost, panicked. It ends abruptly, and he was never identified, never found. The deeper you go, the louder the silence becomes, and the more eerie it starts to get. Our final story plays off in the Highlands of Scotland. In County Offaly, Leap Castle rises from the mist like a wound in stone. Built in the 13th century, it was home to the O'Carroll clan, ruthless, power-hungry, and unrepentant. During a family feud, one brother stabbed another through the heart while he was saying mass. That room became the Bloody Chapel. Later, workers discovered a hidden dungeon filled with spikes and hundreds of human remains. Paranormal investigators speak of an elemental spirit, grotesque, foul-smelling, and violently territorial. Guests feel pushed, scratched, or simply overwhelmed by dread. Leap Castle doesn't just haunt, it bleeds history. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, one truth remains. Every haunting begins with a story, and stories have a way of coming true. Sleep well, if you can.